that we're live. We're
Okay.
finally
It says
live,
it.
maybe? It
Yes,
says it.
I
So
think so. It says it, so it must be true.
there
But
we
it
go.
says it on the internet. It's got to be true.
Everything on the internet is true.
Yeah, Stephen Pepper tried that theory this week, and well, I mean, it seems that you bought into it. So,
Well, everything he said was true. I mean, I'm not saying that everything in the internet is always true, but
I see.
You know, that would be
Some
crazy
stuff
talk.
is. Right. So we get a lot of questions about these rubber duckies behind your head there.
Yeah.
So
everyone wants to know about those rubber duckies.
People ask all the time. Like, I get emails. People are saying, "Hey, Nick, what's going on with Greg's rubber duckies?" You know, they wanted to send you an email, but they were intimidated to ask directly or something. And so, no, I don't really get any emails about them. But people keep asking. I hear anyway in the chat on these things. So what's up with the duckies?
They do. So, when you travel, every now and then you come across a place that gives you a duck, and anything from hotels to first class Lufthansa lounge bathrooms, you can come across a rubber ducky, and so you take it home as a souvenir. So I brought one to our meeting. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that okay?
Oh, well, I can see the ducky. I can see sunglasses on it. Got a little like red sash of some sort. I can't read the letters.
Oh, yeah. So the letters say Necker Island.
Is that what they say, huh?
So if you count how many points it took to get a rubber ducky, this is by far the most expensive rubber ducky that I have.
That anybody has. Very, very pricey rubber ducky. Limited edition for sure on that rubber ducky.
Exactly. 1.2 million miles for this rubber ducky. Now, that does sound like a lot, but it did come with some extra perks, like a week on Necker Island, all food and beverages and alcohol included, all activities included, snorkeling, everything, getting to meet Richard Branson, so the ducky, yes, it's an expensive ducky, but I don't know. I thought with all the extra little throw-ins that they had, that
a few extra add-ons.
There's a few extra add-ons. That was probably a good deal.
I mean, if we should write a quick deal on that. Get yourself a Necker Island rubber ducky, just 1.2 million miles. Actually, should be a quick deal coming next week.
You know what could be fun though is ways to, it'd be kind of like tongue in cheek, but ways to buy rubber duckies with points, and things would be like, here's the cheapest Conrad hotel you could stay at on points. And I don't know, do they all have rubber duckies, or is
they
just
don't
like
all have rubber
Tokyo
duckies?
One?
Tokyo definitely does, but
so that one's pretty expensive. That's like 90 or 95,000 points for one night,
right?
Or one of those free night certificates,
right?
Any
so that'd be
day of the week. Thanks.
Any day of the week if you get it, if you get it issued this year between May 1st and December 31st. That's right. Any day of the week, or any of the existing certs that you have already before that, I guess. So,
right.
Yeah.
It's just ones that you get January 1st of next year and beyond, that are probably going to go back to the old weekend only deal.
Right.
Although we can hope that they'll be like, you know what, this is working for us, let's keep it. But
people like it. Right. So
I doubt it.
So, really what AMEX ought to be doing is advertising it as coming with a free Conrad Tokyo rubber ducky and 150,000 points right now. So you can get yourself one free rubber ducky and 150,000 points.
If you go to Tokyo.
If you go to Tokyo, yeah. I mean, there's that little wrinkle. But
So I haven't gotten any rubber duckies in the United States. I mean, there obviously must be places. I don't know, obviously, but
I can't think of it.
All my duckies. So some of my duckies are from Germany,
mm-hmm.
the Lufthansa lounges. A bunch of them are from London at the St. Pancras Hotel.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's the Conrad Tokyo, and then the Necker Island duck.
I think the only one I've gotten is the Conrad Tokyo. I mean, I've gotten stuffed animals at a number of the Conrad hotels, but I think the only rubber ducky I've gotten is the Conrad Tokyo in all my travels. So
yeah,
it's not as
we're gonna have to go
sight as you would think.
We are going to have to hunt for domestic duckies.
The hunt for domestic duckies.
Yes.
So, I mean, that just makes it all the more impressive, the number of rubber duckies over Greg's shoulder right now, when you consider how few places there are to get them in the points and miles game. He is really racked up in a limited supply.
That's pretty good, right? I should set up a slipper display too, because we take slippers from all the airplanes and hotels.
I got a few of those too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So do you think maybe we should actually move on to questions?
We
We're
should.
supposed to-
We
we're
should.
supposed
If
to
people
answer
have questions, we should probably answer a couple. Man, for some reason, my left contact is killing me here. I keep having an
All
issue
right.
there.
Well, while you're rubbing your eye, I will
There
ask
you
you
go.
question number
All
one.
right, sounds good. Question
Rub
number
your eye
one.
some more.
Okay.
What are the best cards / issuers to play the upgrade downgrade game with?
I mean, Amex, Amex and Chase. Really. I mean, I guess now I say that I feel like I don't really want to get rid of Citi in the mix. But if you want to say the best, Amex is the best because you downgrade and you might get an offer to upgrade with a point bonus. And unlike the welcome bonuses on those cards, those usually don't have lifetime language. So even if you've had the card you're upgrading to before, you could theoretically get the bonus again. Now, if you've never had the card that you're being offered the upgrade bonus for, then you have to consider how much they're offering you to upgrade, because once you upgrade, you wouldn't be eligible for the welcome bonus on that card again in the future. So if you've never had the card before, you want to consider signing up for it new on its own, unless they're offering you an upgrade bonus that matches the new card welcome bonus, which happens from time to time. But at any rate, that's the issuer you want to do it with, because you can get a bonus, and you don't get a bonus for upgrading or downgrading with anybody else. Just Amex, you get upgrade bonuses sometimes.
Right. No question. I mean, both with Citi and Chase, there are good reasons to downgrade or upgrade in certain circumstances, but I don't, neither one is known to offer particularly lucrative upgrade offers. And usually Chase does that when they're trying to get rid of a card. So once you upgrade, you're probably not going to be able to downgrade back to it.
Right. Well, and I'm glad that this question came up, because Lisa posted a question just a few minutes before we started on our post about going live today that's kind of related to this. She said that she had the Chase Inc. Business Preferred, and she had downgraded it recently because she's not traveling, not spending any money in the 3X category, also has a CSR. So she doesn't need the bonus category right now on the Inc. Business Preferred. So she downgraded to an Inc. Cash, which makes sense. Smart move. Said she wanted to get her 5X at the office supply store. Awesome. She said, but in the future, when travel returns again and she starts doing business travel again, she wants to put it on a business card and get 3X for it. She'll be interested in the Chase Inc. Business Preferred again. She wanted to know, how long do I have to wait before I apply for a new Inc. Business Preferred after I've downgraded to the Chase Inc. Cash? How long do I have to wait to apply again?
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is there's not really any time required to wait, because some people have been known to get a second Inc. Business Preferred even while they kept the first one open. So, and that doesn't invalidate getting the welcome bonus either. So the Incs are unique in Chase's portfolio in that they're sort of devoid of all those rules that they usually have against gaming. But although they still do look at the 524 situation, like they don't
have to
count
be under
against
524.
Right. Yeah. They won't add to your 524 if you get approved, but you do have to be under 524 to get approved. So I wouldn't worry about that. It's more, I'd wait till if you're on the fence about whether or not you'll get approved, you might want to wait until the economy picks up a bit, because Chase is being much tougher on approvals right now.
Yeah, and she had noted that actually in the question, and I went over that, or kind of went past that in getting to the meat of the question. But yeah, definitely that makes sense. I would wait until things turn around, because obviously right now I don't think anybody is welcoming small business consumers in with open arms. It seems like everybody's tightening up on that. But when things do improve again, yeah, you don't have to. There's no set time you need to wait, Lisa. You don't have to wait. She asked if she had to wait like a year or something like that. No, you don't have to. You can go ahead after it when you're ready.
All right. So our next question is from Yuri. Yuri wants to know if it's worth keeping the Hilton Aspire over the Surpass, also the Gold over the AMEX Everyday Preferred or CitiPremier for grocery spend.
Okay, so a lot of questions going on there. So is it worth keeping the Aspire over the Surpass long term? I mean, I think it's worth having the Aspire over the Surpass, because I think the annual benefits of the Aspire far exceed the annual fee. So I think that's definitely if you have to pick one or the other, then I would take the Aspire long term. Now, if you're asking me which one should you use at the grocery store, of course, long term, that's going to be the Surpass. I would get them both if you're considering MSing on the Surpass, or you spend a lot on groceries. Then I would say you probably want to have both of them. Now, if you're comparing Surpass, Amex Gold, and Premier for grocery spend, I don't know. What do you think, Greg?
Well, I mean, normally the Surpass is the best for grocery spend. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. You're going on to the next one.
Yeah, I am kind of going to the next one.
I was still thinking about the Hilton
that's okay.
question. It just occurred to me that we could tie the previous conversation together with this.
Oh, that's true.
first conversation and say he could drop to the Surpass and hope for an upgrade offer to the Aspire later. So you drop to the Surpass each, and
Every so often do some grocery
do
spend.
a lot of grocery spend at 6x, after the 12x thing is
Right.
over, and hope for an upgrade offer. You could also each year theoretically max out your Aspire credits and then downgrade again and get a prorated annual fee. So it depends how far you want to push things with Amex, but I think that's possible to do every year.
It probably is. This year, I might, go a little slow on that kind of thing because you never know how things might be right now. But yes.
Also, this year they're
long-term.
offering some really nice benefits for the Aspire. So
Right.
I don't know if it would make sense, but
yeah.
Anyway,
So
okay.
then grocery store, Surpass, Gold,
Yeah.
Everyday Preferred, CitiPremier. I mean, what should it be?
Well, so Gold has the best, I'd say, value per dollar during normal times. So, right now we've got the 12x on the Surpass. So I think I'd go with Surpass right now. But under normal times, I'd take Amex Gold 4x over CitiPremier 3x. Everyday Preferred, I can't even remember what it says, but it's limited
it
to
gets
like,
it gets 3 per dollar, and then if you do 30 transactions a month, then you get a 50% bonus. So really, you get 4.5 membership rewards points per dollar, but it's capped at $6,000 a year instead.
Right. So it doesn't seem worth bothering with for that extra half point over the Gold.
Right. I mean, unless you are just not going to do that much grocery spend. I mean, I guess if you're going to do less than $6,000 a year in grocery spend, maybe it's worth having that card. And even then, it gets kind of questionable because when you look at the fact that the Gold also gets 4x at restaurants, then I feel like, man, I think that the value proposition of the Gold becomes a lot stronger than the Everyday Preferred pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So I don't think the Everyday Preferred would really be in the conversation for me there. It would really be Gold or CitiPremier. Now, I love the idea of getting 3x Citi at the grocery store, and I'm going to do some 3x spend on that card too. But I think the Gold would be the first choice for me too.
Yeah.
In a time when the Surpass isn't offering 12x. All right. So hopefully that answers your question, Yuri. So Lawrence asks us another question here. So Lawrence says, how much gift card mall buying is safe on a Hyatt card, trying at least 15K for the free night? You want to fill that one?
It's interesting because 15K will also get you 6 elite nights. I'm sorry, it will get you 9 elite nights right now. Because they're doing the 3 elite nights per 5K spend instead of the usual 2. So if you're hunting elite status or anything, it's not just the free night you'd be getting. It's also that. It's a really tough. How safe is it? I don't know. I'd be nervous about doing it if you haven't been putting it sounds like you haven't already been putting high spend on it. Otherwise, because the 15K free night is only your first 15K. It's not a regular thing every 15K. You don't get another free night. So if you haven't already been putting a lot of spend on it, I don't know. I'd be nervous about that with Chase. That said, in my family, I just did that on a Hyatt card, did that amount on a Hyatt card with paying taxes. But I figured that if anyone is going to look at that sudden big charge, taxes is something they're not going to bat an eye at, at this time period. So I felt safe doing that. I would feel nervous about gift card mall.
I think right now I would be particularly, I think that, if not for the pandemic, then I would say don't go out and spend 15K all at once. But, if you spend a couple thousand here and a couple thousand there over time, I would be less nervous than what Greg is making it sound he is here, I think.
Agreed. I took the question to mean like all at once, but you're right. If you're going to do it in little bits, then I think I actually think that's safe.
Yeah. I don't think the amount itself is a problem. I think it's the pattern. It depends on how your patterns are. And once this COVID-19 thing hit out, you got to remember, Chase said, I think spending went down like 40% on their cards. So if all of a sudden you're spending $15,000 on gift cards, that's probably going to raise some red flags right now. And I think even during regular times, it might, if you just all of a sudden do that. But if you spend a few thousand this month and a few thousand next month and a few more thousand the next month, and you might be able to get to that amount and not have a problem. So
All right. So we have a question from Cafes and Alleyways. That's a nice rhyme, isn't it?
It is.
They, she, he, I'm not sure, ask what metrics or markers are you personally looking to before beginning or increasing in-store points earning activities?
I mean, that's a good question. I don't know if there is a specific metric I'm looking for. In the weekend review around the web this past weekend, I was talking about travel and when it'll be safe to travel again to foreign places, and I feel like that kind of ties in here because I feel similarly the way I said it, I felt about that, and that is that I know that I will travel again in the future. I don't know exactly when that'll be. I know at some point I will. I want to have the chance to learn more about COVID-19 and how it transmits person to person and is treated and everything else. There's going to need to be a curve of some sort, like some period of time before I feel comfortable enough with the amount of knowledge that we have, because I don't yet. And I don't feel a need to be on the leading edge of like proving that, okay, now is the time, it's okay to do it. And I feel it's the same thing with this. I don't feel like I need to be on the leading edge of the first person in line to buy a money order. I think I'll wait a little bit. What does a little bit mean? I mean, I don't know. It could be a couple of months and everything seems like it's great. It might be more like 4 or 5 or 6 months. I don't think there's a specific number. It's more so, I want to see the trend continue downward before I feel safe with that. I don't know. Do you feel differently, Greg? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I definitely don't have a metric in mind. When I think about going to a store for manufacturing spend, it's honestly more like, for me, I'm less worried about my personal safety than you should be because of having a young child at home and one on the way. Um, but I I sort of I sort of think of it as like I'll go to the stores once it's a standard accepted practice to go back to stores. And
Yeah.
right now it's not. And
Right.
what's gonna, when will that be? I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, the place where I live, the county where I live, has had so few cases. I mean, there's probably mathematically a next to zero risk for me going to the store where I live. And even still, I don't want to be the person who's overconfident in that and going out and at the end of the day, am I going to look back and regret that I waited a couple extra months to MS? No. Would I regret it if I brought that home to my family and they got sick and somebody, yeah, absolutely I would. So I'll wait. I got enough points. I can wait a few more months and see how things go. So I'll let Greg be the guinea pig on that one. He'll let me know when it's safe
All
again.
right. Yeah.
All right. So next question comes from Abraham. Abraham says, best mid-grade travel card to keep, primary car, rental coverage, etc. What's like your best mid-tier? So we're talking like probably a $95 a year card, right? What do you think is the best one to have for travel purposes? So I'm going to assume when you say travel card that we're talking about that from the perspective of both rewards, like the ability to use the rewards earning for travel spend, and the ancillary benefits like primary rental car coverage or any other kinds of travel insurance. What do you think?
Yeah. Uh,
I tried to stretch that out for a second to let you think.
Thank you. So it's interesting. I haven't looked at this card for a while, but when I looked a while ago, I wouldn't say it's the best, but I looked a while ago at free travel cards, and I was surprised at how good the Costco cashback card was. Um, so that one's sort of not really free because you do have to have a Costco membership, but that's a pretty interesting card to look at if you want not even any annual fee beyond the Costco membership. But as far as the sort of $95 range cards, I don't know, what are we looking at? The Sapphire Preferred from Chase, the CitiPremier, the AMEX Green, which is 150.
Yeah, or the everyday preferred, I guess, except
What
that
else?
doesn't.
What else is even in the category? So then there's some other cash back thingies like the
I mean, the Bank of America
Bank of
travel
America
rewards,
travel reward or premium rewards.
premium rewards,
Premium rewards
right?
has some more travel features, even though it's not called travel.
Right.
So I guess, well, Venture, so the
Venture,
Capital
yeah,
One
venture,
Venture
yep.
rewards. So that's probably our
stable of cards to choose from,
stable. So
which
you know
makes
what?
it a pretty
I'm
easy
gonna
call.
well, with that stable, I'd
Go
say
ahead.
Sapphire preferred. What would you say? But I'm gonna go outside
Right. I
of.
mean, yeah, clearly.
All right, but
Okay.
I'm gonna go outside of the box.
You go outside of the box. He's going to say the United card.
What?
No.
No. Do not get
They're
the
taking a
whoever's
shot here.
listening. No. No. U.S.
Don't
Bank.
tell him a Delta card. Come on,
U.S.
stop it.
Bank Altitude Reserve is what? It's like $400, but it gives you $325 back. Am I doing the numbers right?
I think that's right. Yeah.
So it gives you $325 back for your travel spend. So you're netting a $75 annual fee and getting some not quite Sapphire Reserve level features, but much better than your $95 card features. And
Like what?
so,
What are the
well,
good
you do
features?
have you have some priority pass access. I think. I don't think it's like unlimited, but I think you get something.
I don't know what the priority pass access is.
I don't
on
remember
Reserve,
actually,
yeah.
but I just know the insurance is decent. Like travel insurance stuff is decent. The fact that it gets 3x for travel is decent rewards. It has a really good rewards program in that the points can be essentially cashed out for 1.5 cents each. Now it doesn't have transferable points though. So
That's the downside, yeah.
that's the downside.
But if you're able to earn 3 points per dollar on everyday spend, because that card, of course, if you're using mobile payments, then you're talking about, if you got a Samsung phone or an Apple phone, and you can use or any Android phone, I guess you can use Google Pay, Apple Pay, Samsung Pay with their watch
that's
or
3x
something or other.
for all
3x.
of those purchases, all of those phone-based tap-to-pay purchases. So it's pretty special in that way. But yeah, if you don't want to go to a non-transferable points card, Sapphire preferred.
Hands down, primary CDW, good, decent travel protections, trip delay, cancellation, all the rest of that. Better than anybody else is going to have on a $95 card with a transferable currency.
It's also one of the few where you're covered even if you just pay, for example, just the award fees with your Sapphire preferred. You're still covered for the whole trip, even though the rest of it was, paid with points. So it's got some good benefits there. And I don't think the U.S. Bank card actually matches that.
No, and Citi slaughtered their travel card benefits. They took away like all of the trip delay and stuff like that. And I don't even know if they still have the car rental coverage, but when they did, it only applied as primary outside of the United States, not in the US. You don't even want to think about that for travel.
It's weird. It's hard to even consider the Premier and Prestige cards travel cards anymore without travel protections.
They aren't. They are travel rewards cards. That's it. They aren't travel rewards. Yes. But they're not really a travel card per se.
There you go. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And they are very rewarding though. But anyway, so
they are.
All right.
Oh, that's right. You're up, Jerry.
My turn, I think. Yeah.
Yep.
Jerry says, why have the card issuers not offered bonus spend on big box stores? I'm frustrated because I spend $1,000 at Costco using my World of Hyatt card at only 1x and the goal of $15K spend for free night. So
why don't they offer any bonus points for warehouse stores and things like that? I don't know the answer. I mean, I would guess that apparently those stores are getting such a good deal on their interchange fees that it costs more in some way, shape, or form, that their margin is less. I don't know. That'd just be my guess. But do you have a guess as to why they don't bonus those things, Greg? Or they don't feel like they have to?
I mean, I think as a standard thing, they don't do it because I think they've negotiated, small fees for the credit card processors probably. So the banks probably don't earn as much from them as they do from some other places, but that'd be my guess. But why they're not doing it during the epidemic as the way they're bonusing grocery spend, I think is probably more just because everybody has grocery spend and everybody has, no matter what the state's policies are, as they have grocery stores open. That's not true of all states and big box stores. So my guess is they're just like, let's go for the thing that would be most appealing to the broadest customer base possible. And so they're like, let's bonus grocery spend.
That makes sense. Everybody's got a grocery store, so that makes sense. And I wouldn't be surprised if things like Costco have negotiated massively better deals in terms of their credit card processing. You know, look at grocery stores; those are very regional. You know, what Kroger sure does own a lot, but there are a lot of regional grocery stores that are much smaller that probably don't have the same negotiating power that a Costco does. So it's probably more profitable for them still than things like a Costco or Walmart. So, but I that's as much as, you know, I feel like that's a guess.
And we're just
It seems
guessing,
like
yeah.
a good guess, but
Right,
who
right.
knows? Yeah. Yep. All right. So that's the best we got there. So, and I would say by the way, if you're shopping at Costco, you know that what Greg just told you, the Altitude Reserve is a card to think about, because
Yes.
obviously if you're shopping at Costco, you can use that at Costco. If you got an Android phone or an Apple phone, and be earning the equivalent of 4.5% cash back at Costco. So if you're a regular Costco shopper, you got to think about how much that $15K spend on the Hyatt card is costing you for the free night, because the
Right.
opportunity cost there that you're giving up at 4.5%, that's a pretty expensive free night. So consider that.
So you're good at doing math off the top of your head. So 4.5% of $15,000 is?
Well, 10% would be 1,500. So 5% would be
135?
750.
Is that all it is?
Something. No. It's more
No.
than 135. 4% of 1,500 would be already. No, you see, I'm doing a terrible job here. 60.
Put you on the spot.
Yeah, no, you did. Normally I am good at it, but today I'm not. So I'll have to pull out the calculator so I don't mess that one up, because I feel like I just did the math and it didn't work out in my head. So,
all right. While you're,
it's a lot.
While you're calculating,
go ahead. You read the next.
I'll read the next
question. So I don't mess this up.
I'll read the question from Mike, Greg, and Nick. So this question is to both of us.
Okay, it's for both of us.
Have you
$675, by the way, is the answer.
$675. So
right.
how many nights would you be able to spend at Hyatt's with $675 instead of having 15,000 points and a free night certificate?
Right.
Well,
so
it's not actually that many.
I would
more.
not
Maybe
be doing
it depends
that 15,
on the Hyatt.
Like if you're actually going to, but if you're actually going to spend 15K at Costco, it wouldn't be on the Hyatt card for me. I mean, $675. I don't feel like it's, I think it's worthwhile. Right. Okay, go ahead.
So Jerry asks, why have I'm sorry. Mike asks, Greg and Nick, have you guys ever participated in a buying club? You wrote about it once, but there are risks associated with it. Is that all?
Yeah, so I have the PFS Buyers Club is probably the deal that you're talking about, that we've written about anyway. We've written about a couple of their deals over the last few years, where essentially something goes on sale. In the case of PFS, the more popular things we've written about have been coins from the US Mint, for instance. And so you agree to buy the coin at the Mint for a pre-negotiated profit from PFS Buyers Club. So you buy your coin from the Mint, and then you turn around and you ship it to PFS, and they give you some small profit, pay you for it. And obviously their deal is that they're going to resell that hopefully for more than whatever it is they pay you. So that's essentially the way a Buyers Club works. They pay you to buy something for them. They give you some of the profit. They probably take a larger piece of the profit for themselves. So have we ever participated? Yeah, I've done a bunch of PFS deals over the years. A couple in the last year here, I think, alone. So I've done some, and I've always gotten paid out. Now, is there some risk? Yeah, of course there is. Anybody who's been around the game long enough to remember the plastic merchant knows that there is definitely risk in buying something and reselling it to somebody else, because you might not get paid in the end. So there certainly is some risk. PFS has been around a good long time. I've used them a few times. I've always been pretty lucky with them. So I would probably do it again. But on the other hand, I don't know anybody at PFS, so I don't give them some sort of an endorsement saying that I know. I don't know. It's a risk every time. It's a risk I've been willing to take sometimes, but I haven't done it with like random buyers clubs that I've never heard of. I know other people do lots of other buyers clubs, but I haven't done any of the rest of them. You, Greg?
I actually haven't done any of them ever. So
yeah,
I'm really the wrong person to ask about that.
Yeah. I mean, so obviously there's risk. The risk that you're buying something for somebody else. And essentially the way somebody explained it in one of our posts at one point in the comments, and I think it was a really good point, or maybe it was the plastic merchant thing. I don't remember. They said basically you are extending your line of credit to somebody you don't know, right? Because you're buying something under the expectation that this other person is going to pay you for it, and you don't necessarily know whether or not they will. So there's definitely some risk. And in a poor economy like right now, I would probably be very cautious with any kind of buyers clubs, because you don't know what their financial situation is. But in a better economy, I would go with things that people have had lots of positive experiences with. And just like going to Las Vegas, never gamble with more than you can afford to lose.
Good answer.
All right.
All
So
right.
that brings us to the next one, right? So my turn to read one here, I guess. Backing up. So Lisa says, just product change. Oh, no, I'm sorry.
That one
we
we
already
already
answered.
did.
Yep,
So
got it. Sorry. So we answered that one before. If you weren't here, Lisa, don't forget to rewind afterwards. Larry says, want to be ready for an award in business class to Europe in June of this year, June of next year, Larry. Hoping availability is still good in 2 months. What programs open award seats earliest? Yeah, it must be next year. Both the operating carriers and the programs whose miles you might use. So he wants to know, he's looking for June 2021 travel. So he knows that the award calendar for that is going to open up in about 2 months, because most programs offer awards about 330-ish days in advance. Do you know which ones offer them the farthest in advance, Greg? And does it make a difference in terms of those two calendars, the operating carrier versus the booking carrier?
It does matter. So I know it matters because of the flight to Australia that I booked, first class. We had written about a deal. I guess it was that Japan Airlines had first class flights wide open from Japan to Australia. So I booked from the US actually to Australia via Japan. And I booked, instead of American Airlines miles, because they couldn't see to when I wanted, as far out in the calendar as I wanted to go, I booked with Cathay Pacific miles, which could see further out. So I know that different programs can see different lengths of time, and I think it's likely that the carrier can see can it at least matches the furthest out you can see, but I don't know that for sure.
Yeah,
But anyway, I
sure.
don't know. For flights to Europe, I mean, Larry is probably, looking at either Delta or, well, actually, I shouldn't list. There's a lot of flights from Larry's in the Detroit area, so he might be right. But anyway, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I don't have it memorized. I have to Google that kind of thing. And so if you just Googled, who opens award availability the earliest, I want to say ANA is one of the earliest out there, but I don't know whether or not, like Greg said, whether the fact that they allow award booking something like 360 days in advance, I'm not sure as though they can see partner availability farther in advance. Because here's the thing, Turkish, I've been searching for awards with Turkish, and Turkish actually will let you book further in the future than United does. But Turkish can't see the availability beyond the end of whatever United's calendar is. So there's I haven't found a single day with availability beyond the last day that United,
which makes sense. Like, why would United show availability past the dates that they
that they show
would
their own
allow?
numbers?
Yeah.
Right. So I think you'll probably be limited by the operating carrier, but I'm not absolutely positive on that. You'd have to look it up. And for, I would tell you though, for June 2021 travel, it might not be as hard as it has been in the past to snag seats, because obviously people are going to be a little bit nervous as things, open up here. On the flip side, Greg's going to tell you that I'm wrong and everybody's going to jump on availability right away. But if you saw, we just posted a quick deal a little while ago where like United has 4 seats available like every day all month long in June and not in June, in February and March of 2021 and into April of 2021 on many routes. I'm talking 4 seats in business class every single day. In some cases it was earlier today when I looked anyway. So in some of those flights at 6 seats or whatever else, I imagine we're going to see a decent amount of availability.
Yeah, no, I think so. But what I was going to say to Larry is that booking at as far out in the schedule as possible is not necessarily the best strategy. So it depends on a lot of different factors, but one that is extremely relevant to Larry's question is that Lufthansa flies from Detroit now to both Frankfurt, which has been a long-standing route, but also to Munich. I think that one seasonally. And what I've seen with Lufthansa is that they open up their business class awards almost exactly 6 months before you want to fly, and you won't find any available before that. And it might only be on that route that I've looked at, which is the Frankfurt route, Detroit to Frankfurt. But anyway, the point is that every airline does it differently when they open award space. Some do open most of it beginning of schedule, but others do it whenever they do it. I don't know.
Yeah, and to that point, I've been searching United literally every day for flights from New York to Hawaii to see if I can find availability. I've searched New York, Chicago, Washington, Houston, every one of them every single day. And I haven't seen a business class seat open up, like at any different time of day or anything else on those routes a year in advance. Like as the availability comes out, I haven't seen anything. So
By the way, the second after you put yours on hold, you have to let me know so I can put mine on hold.
I'll be sure to get right on the horn with you there and let you know. But yeah, so I got my eye out on that, and United's not releasing it, in any kind of predictable pattern like that. And I think you're going to find that from a number of airlines, although I think that airlines are going to be hurting for some sort of compensation here. So I think they're probably going to open up some of these, especially because they don't know what ticket sales are going to look like for a while.
Right.
All right. So that brings us then to the next one, right?
Okay. Yep. Robert S. Any data point for Chase Sapphire Preferred to Chase Sapphire Reserve getting the $100 credit?
I think he's talking about how Chase was giving some card members a $100 credit towards the annual fee. If their renewal dates were between a certain set of dates. We wrote a quick deal about it, and I honestly don't remember the fine details on that. So I'm not sure. Would be the best answer I can give you. I'll see if I can pull up the details on that while Greg tells you that he hasn't heard anything about it.
I haven't heard anything about it.
That was pretty.
But
I'm
quick. Confused. I'm confused by the Sapphire Preferred part of that. Is the question whether you could get $100 credit for upgrading?
Well, his question is basically, I think if he upgrades, will he become eligible for the $100 statement credit? So what it is they were issuing it
if your renewal is like before the end of May, maybe. I doubt it. I doubt if it's later.
Yeah, so it was not everybody was receiving the message. So what it was they had said that if your Sapphire Reserve renewal date was between April 1st and July 1st, apparently that people were getting that message about the $100 credit. And I don't know, so everybody has gotten that even. And if you upgrade, I wouldn't expect it. That's one of those things that I'd be pleasantly surprised if you were eligible for something that you didn't expect to be eligible for, but I haven't heard anything about it. No.
That's a good way to put it.
Yep. All right. Champ asks us a question, says, hey guys, I truly can't decide if the AMEX Platinum with the additional credit is worth a 524 slot. Please help. Oh, I'm glad this one came up actually. So what do you think, Greg? Can't decide if the AMEX Platinum, the personal Platinum, is worth a 524 slot. Because, of course, if you apply for the AMEX Personal Platinum, then that will take away one of the slots that would put you over the 524 rule for Chase and potentially prevent you from getting a Chase credit card at some point in the future. But, of course, the case for Platinum cards right now is fairly compelling because all of the additional benefits that they've added temporarily between May and December of this year. So what do you think, Greg?
Right.
Worth a slot?
Well, so first of all, first question is, have you looked at the business platinum? So you can get that. It's a different set of credits, but that might be your better bet right now
because it doesn't add to the 524 count.
Correct. But if
I'll give you another reason
not an
in a
option
second,
for you,
go ahead.
But I mean, it might not be an option. Maybe he's had the business platinum before, or doesn't have a business, isn't willing to create one for this purpose. And so, is it worth a 524 slot? I mean, I think it really comes down to, is it worth taking up your last 524 slot or not? If it's like I'm at 224 and just wondering whether to add to it, I'd say, there's been no better time, I think, to pick up a platinum card. And so it's always been a decent pickup for the 60,000 point bonus, but there's ways to potentially get more than that. So my sense is mostly yes. It's on the yes side of that equation. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I would say yes too. If you're going to use the streaming and wireless credits, that's $320 right there. I mean, would you sell a Chase 524 slot for $320? I mean, I feel like that's probably a decent trade, right? I mean, it's assuming 320, I feel like, is not bad to begin with. And then if you also value the other benefits of the platinum card on top of that, then I think, I mean, when you consider the welcome bonus, the fact that you are still getting 60,000, or maybe you're eligible for the 100,000 point offer. And if you're able to get 100,000 points and the extra $320, I mean, what Chase offers it that you're intending to be better than that? I can't think of it. I don't know the better Chase offer is. So, you got to compare it to
Yeah.
what's your best option from Chase. Your best option, I guess, is the Ink Business Preferred with a 100,000 point sign up bonus. That's like the best Chase card. So, if you are giving up the opportunity to get that card, yeah, I mean, I still think that the personal platinum, particularly if you're able to get the 100K offer, is well worth it. And even at the 60K offer, might be. Now, so I'm glad that this came up, I said, because I haven't had a chance to write it up yet. But a friend of mine was asking me the other day about getting a better offer on the business platinum card. I think the current offer is what, 75,000, right? I think that's what it is.
I
I
can't
can't remember
but
off the top.
that
I believe that's what it
sounds
is,
right.
75,000
Mhm.
After whatever the minimum spend is. And he tried a couple of different wizardy tricks to see if he get a better offer, and he didn't. And so I said, sometimes that's just the way it goes. See if you got any other computers, try something new. But anyway, he reported back to me and told me that he called in and he just said that he was considering the business platinum, but he was also looking at the Ink Business Preferred. The Ink Business Preferred is offering 100,000. The business platinum was only offering 75. And the salesperson tried to sell him a little bit on it for a while and then eventually put him on hold and came back and said, actually, you're eligible for an 85,000 point sign up bonus.
Ooh.
And so he went ahead and took the 85,000 point bonus. So it was worth calling and asking. Now, I don't necessarily think that that was something that he, was his negotiating skills. It was probably more so just the fact that they did legitimately check to see if there was a targeted offer. And I have heard of success in getting targeted by calling and just asking if you're targeted for anything over the phone. So
I've had success with that myself. So yeah, sometimes
So
you don't see it online, but the call center has access to some offers that you're not going to see. So it's definitely worth a call if you're concerned about getting the very best offer.
Mm-hmm. There you go. All right. So then that brings us to the next one. I guess your turn, right?
Okay, my turn. Sip. Hi, Sip.
Sip.
He says, booked Detroit to Beijing, Delta with Virgin Atlantic miles in December 2019. I assume that is business class, which would be on Delta One suites, which would be very nice. Scheduled to fly end of August of 20. Oh, so this year. Any thoughts on what to do? Does Virgin Atlantic redeposit miles if I cancel? Wait and see if Delta cuts that flight. Yeah, I don't see any reason not to just wait and see what happens unless you're, well, even if you're certain you don't want to fly to Beijing at that time, you could wait and just see if Delta cancels it. It's not like you're going to get a better deal canceling now than you would later, and you're more likely to get the fees waived. That being said, my experience with Virgin Atlantic has been that they've actually been very nice about waiving fees, even if you're not supposed to be eligible for those fees waived during this time. Now, the other part of it is the only fees are what, $595 per segment, right?
Yeah, $560, I think.
Or $560. So even so the reddeposit will happen, and if you have to lose the $5.60 each way.
Yeah. So what Greg is saying is, so Virgin Atlantic publishes, I think it's a $50 cancellation fee in order to get your miles redeposited. However, we wrote a post a few months ago because I ran into the situation where the short version of the long story is that I eventually found that it apparently is their policy that if your taxes and fees were less than the than the cancellation fee, less than the $50, then you just have to forfeit the taxes and fees and you get redeposited the miles. And in fact, we have both had the situation now where we've canceled flights under that rule and both been refunded the $5.60, I think, and gotten the redeposit of the miles. So you may even get your $5.60 back, but if you don't, the redeposit of the miles is obviously more valuable than $5.60. I would have gladly given up my $5.60 in exchange for the miles.
Right.
Back.
And one other quick tip, Virgin Atlantic publishes a text number to text them from the US, and I definitely recommend you canceling through that text message, because getting through to them over the phone is not going to be fun right now.
Yep. So again, moral of the story, wait. And then if and when you're ready to cancel, if Delta cancels it, you're in great shape and you just probably are going to get your miles back and won't cost you anything. Worst case scenario, it's going to cost you $5.60 to get your miles back. So per passenger. So not a bad deal at all. All right. So, and that's one of the beauties of booking with these foreign programs, by the way, that often they have much more reasonable cancellation and redeposit policies than the US based airlines. So
except I'm still stuck with one that I booked with Life Miles. And I don't see
Good
much
luck.
hope there other than to pay the fee, the redeposit fee.
Yeah. And even then, you might pay your redeposit fee only for them to go bankrupt, right?
It's possible.
No, unlikely, I think, but that's another conversation for another day. So Peter asks us, follow up to the Amex Platinum with the extra credits. If you don't have the 100K offer, would you still suggest it? So if you can only get the personal Platinum 60K offer for $5,000 spend, would you still tie up a 524 slot?
Yeah, I think so. But even easier than getting the 100K offer, go into different browsers in a private mode to the link that's on our website or any link to the Amex 60K offer, and you might see, like I did in one of my recent posts, I showed there's I can't remember if it was 70K or 75K, but try to get that at least, just because it appeared to be very easy to get that one, and so you might as well get a little bit better. But yeah, I think even the 60K offer is a good offer, and it doesn't require a
60K
huge
plus
spend.
$320 extra, plus the $200 airline credits, plus SACs if you value that at all.
All kinds of stuff. Yeah.
I mean, yes, it's worth a 524 slot, I would say. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so then go ahead.
Last question before lightning round. Aaron, it's I don't know if it's written that way on everyone, but anyway, Aaron says, is it worth burning a 524 slot for the Citi Sears card in order to convert it to the thank you preferred version, the thank you point version for the periodic special 10x to 20x point offers? Okay, so
this is a niche question.
This is. I love it though.
I do too.
I wonder about it every now and then.
Yeah,
too. I don't have the card, but so the situation is that there's two versions of the Citi. Of the Citi Sears card. There's one that just earns shop your way points, which are worth like nothing. Cash back that can only be spent at Sears and Kmart and whatnot. And but there's another version of it that earns thank you points, and the only way to get that one is to first get the crappy Sears one and then call Citi to convert it over. So, and that card often gets targeted for these crazy lucrative deals, and so you get all kinds of bonus points and everything. And so it is probably the best thank you card for earning thank you points that you could get. But so what I'm trying to remember, somebody tried it not that long ago.
I thought you couldn't anymore,
and had trouble with the whole process, and I just don't remember the details, because I even thought about this just the other day, because I think it was was it Yuri? Someone on Frequent Miler Insiders group on Facebook talked about how he had like two different promotions overlapping and was getting like 40x with that card.
I think it was Yuri, yeah.
I think it was Yuri.
Yeah.
And so at that time when I read that, I was thinking like, oh man, I need to get back to this idea of getting it. But then I think it was Milenomics had written something about why, like, he tried to get it, and I don't know. I unfortunately I can't remember the details. So I don't either, but
I'm remembering the same thing, that I remember the story about it being very hard or not possible. So that when I saw this question, I thought, is it still possible to convert to the thank you point version?
So, well, let me ask you. So, assuming it is possible.
Assuming it is, okay.
And it is. So, it's definitely not worth a 524 slot if you might get stuck with the bad Sears card. Right. But suppose you have reason to believe it's definitely possible.
It's a lock.
To get it and switch it. What do you think? Is it worth a 524 slot?
I mean, if you're a manufactured spender, yeah. Yeah, I mean, you're not going to generate that many Chase points with whatever Chase card it is that you get probably over the course of the year if you're a manufactured spender. I mean, if you're an MSer, then yeah, that card seems like gold. It seems to keep coming around with these really lucrative thank you point offers that are kind of ridiculous,
right?
And don't require that much spend to earn more points than you would with a welcome bonus on a Chase card. So yeah, it probably is if you know that it can happen, but I'm not sure that it can happen. So it's a gamble.
I also think it's sort of like a badge of honor for these circles,
right.
Yeah. Do you have this
card?
Do you have this niche card that niche card that no one else has? And so
I mean, if you get one of those 20x, if you get a 20x offer, what it takes a 3K spend to get 60,000 points. I mean, that's like the welcome bonus on most credit cards, right?
It's true. That's awesome. Yeah.
And you can keep getting that again and again throughout the course of a year, potentially.
All right. we got to go fast now.
Okay.
Lightning round. Josh asks, would you feel safe to book ANA first class to Japan with Virgin Atlantic in February of 2021?
I mean, feel safe, yes. Would I do it? No.
I'd feel safe and I would do it, but I don't know if it would actually happen. I just would feel safe because I know I'd get my points back if the flight gets canceled.
And neither of us are particularly concerned the Virgin Atlantic is going to collapse and we'll, not have the points. So we'll find other uses for Virgin Atlantic points. So I think that's why we both say we'd feel safe. But yeah,
right.
I don't necessarily feel confident that it would happen. And do I really want to tie up my transferable points in Virgin Atlantic if for something that I'm like at best 38% sure is going to happen? Probably not.
Good point.
So okay, then next one up says, if you use a mobile wallet to pay at Costco, I don't think they can tell what kind of card you're using. If you use a mobile wallet to pay at Costco, you don't think.
So that's not a question.
Yeah, no, it's not a question. I don't think it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they can tell.
We just heard, oops, not a question.
Oh,
okay.
Okay. All right. So next question up. Sorry about that. I missed that line.
All right.
So
is it my turn?
Go ahead.
I don't know. Peter asks, can you make these available as a pod? I use Podcast Player on an Android phone and would love to have this to listen to in addition to the weekly pod you put out. Now, we've had someone rail at us like, don't call this a pod. Don't get into that, even though we've joked about
we did.
how that's
kind of funny.
How that's apparently the cool way to refer to podcasts. So I don't know. Are we going to turn this into a podcast? Why haven't we done that?
We talked about it, I thought, and then kind of decided that we weren't going to, but I don't necessarily know. I guess because of the live format, it doesn't necessarily feel like it would appeal to the same audience. I feel like we'd have to create like a separate thing for it, right? I mean, it wouldn't be under the
Well, we would
thing.
definitely need to create a separate podcast show. So with a different name, I mean, so that's not hard to do, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. That question's too hard. We can't answer that.
Okay. All right. We'll talk about it. So the next question up then is, I'm going to make sure I'm in the right place. Yeah. What is a comfortable amount of transferable points? Now, for some reason, I'm not seeing the rest of that one. So there we go. In each of the programs that you guys often talk about that you need to have on hand before moving to cash back on some other card, 200, 300, 500K. We talked about this a while back and I felt like it was perfect material for a post and neither one of us ended up running with it. So what do you think? What's the comfortable amount of membership rewards points, ultimate rewards points, thank you points before you're like, okay, I got enough of those. It's time to start focusing on cash back because I don't need to keep earning points I'm not using.
Yeah, it's a part at which when you think about going under that amount, you start getting the heebie-jeebies and you're uncomfortable. Like, oh, I don't know if I want to have
Greg's
less
already
than
moving
that.
around a little bit right now. He's like, oh, do I have to think about that?
No, but I mean, more seriously, I think you have to think about how many people do you normally book travel for and what is the type of travel you're likely to book likely to cost at the higher end and multiply those two numbers together. Like you want to make sure you have, I think if ideally you have enough of the points in each program for like one really awesome big trip. And so that might be like, I don't know, 120,000 points per person. If you think about that Virgin Atlantic example where you want to be able to fly round trip to Japan and back in first class, then 120,000 might be a good rule of thumb per person.
Yeah, I mean, I feel more like 200,000 per person gives you like a little bit of breathing room, a little bit of flexibility, depending on what you find. If you book separate one ways or that kind of thing, it's probably more like 200,000 a person would be my feeling. But then I think that there's an additional piece, and that's how quickly do you regenerate points? Because, if it's going to take you, 8 years to get back to that level again, then maybe that 200,000, I don't know, maybe that's not enough cushion. Or maybe it is. Maybe you're only going to take one trip every 8 years. It's a little difficult to say, but at the same time, if you're earning 200,000 points a year, then you don't want to have much more than 200,000 or 300,000 because you're not going to use much more than that at a time, probably per passenger. So I'd say 200,000 to 300,000 per passenger.
Sounds good to me.
My best guess. All right.
All right. We've
Yuri,
got Yuri
go ahead.
again. I heard that in Canada, Amex decreased both sign up and referral bonuses. Will that happen in the US?
We've been seeing the referral bonuses from Amex change, not vary a little bit from where they were, because when they first came out with that, you can refer people to any card kind of a thing. The bonuses were all pretty standard, and then I've seen them all change. I feel like the Hilton card forever was 20,000 points per person that signed up, and now it's 15,000 points per referral. The Everyday Preferred in the beginning, I think, was 10,000. Now it's 7,500 points per referral. But then on the flip side, the Gold card, we've seen 20,000 points per referral. It seems to vary and go up and down in terms of how many points you earn for referring other people. And then in terms of the welcome offer, I haven't paid attention to the trends there because we just always list whatever the best offer is. So I haven't really thought hard about whether the referral offer has been better or worse than the public offers. But then in terms of welcome offers, period, if you're saying that those offers have gone down in Canada, I mean, I wouldn't be totally surprised. I don't feel like in this environment, it's an environment where everybody feels like they want to compete really hard to give people access to more potential debt when they're out of work, right? So it's
Yeah,
not shocking.
I think there's a short-term trend towards not with Amex necessarily, but sort of across banks of tightening their belts and offering less incentives for signing up for things. But I think it's inevitable that when the banks are feeling more comfortable with the economy, that we're going to see some marketing people that we love deciding, oh, it's time to ratchet up those
Right.
offers big time to get a lot more customers, and so I don't think it's a one-way trend. I think.
Long-term thing. No, I totally agree. And as people begin to be able to travel again and whatnot, people are going to be very excited about that. And it'll be a great carrot to be able to hold out there for the banks to encourage new customers. So for sure, I think we'll see a return to better and better offers. But short term, yeah, I mean, it shouldn't be a big surprise as there's, millions and millions of people out of work that they would tighten up a little bit and feel like they don't necessarily need to offer so much because they're not really trying too hard to attract more people right now.
Right. So what everyone can do while you're not signing up for cards right now, because the offers aren't as good, except for the platinum cards and the Hilton Aspire, what you could do now is go to our website and find my latest post where I have a guide for voting for who won the Staycade a Faraway challenge. So it'll tell you point by point, why you should vote, who should vote for Nick, who should vote for Steven, who should vote for Carrie, and who should vote for me. And up until now, we've been telling people, well, you might want to hold off your vote until we've all published our reasons why you should vote for us. But and Carrie's the only one that hasn't posted yet.
Right.
So
So you can
now
go ahead and vote.
you could wait for her post, but she's already got a lot of votes. So
She
I think
does.
just go ahead and just use my guide and you'll be all set.
Vote for me and Greg. We could use a couple of votes. All right. So it looks like there was. Oh no. Okay. I thought there was. We were saying there was another one. Okay. So check that out on the site. Go to thefrequentmiler.com/subscribe if you're not yet subscribed for emails and stuff like that. If you're new to joining us for this kind of stuff, it's thefrequentmiler.com/subscribe. Come out there and subscribe, and we'll see you guys again next Thursday, I imagine. And stay tuned for the podcast this weekend. We'll talk about whether or not to turn this into a pod too. I know somebody.
Yeah, we'll talk all about that.
Pod.
Maybe we'll even decide at some point. Who
Maybe
knows?
we will. Thank you
All
very
right.
much, everyone.
Goodbye.